Hey there, digital daredevils and cyber thrill seekers. Welcome back to Silent Screams, your gateway to the terrifying tales that lurk in the darkest corners of our world. I'm your host, and tonight, we're diving deep into the abyss of the internet, where nightmares become reality with just a few clicks. So, grab your devices, double-check your firewalls, and let's begin our descent into the shadows of the deep web. You know, I used to think I knew the internet. Social media, streaming services, online shopping, the usual stuff. But all that changed the night my roommate, Alex, introduced me to the deep web. It's where the real internet lives, he said, eyes glowing with excitement in the dim light of our shared apartment. I should have known better. I should have walked away. But curiosity got the better of me, and before I knew it, I was watching Alex fire up a special browser, inputting strings of seemingly random characters. Welcome to the other side, he grinned as the screen filled with links I'd never seen before. At first, it seemed harmless enough. Hidden forums, encrypted marketplaces selling questionable goods. But as we dug deeper, the content became darker, more disturbing. That's when we found it, a link promising real-time nightmares. We shouldn't, I said, a knot forming in my stomach. Alex hesitated for a moment, then clicked. The screen went black, then flickered to life with a grainy video feed. It showed a dimly lit room, empty except for a chair in the center. Is this some kind of prank? I asked, leaning closer. Suddenly, a figure was dragged into frame, struggling against unseen captors. They were forced into the chair, bound tightly. A distorted voice crackled through our speakers. Welcome, viewers. Tonight's entertainment is brought to you by User Nightmare Engine. Place your bets now. I felt the blood drain from my face. Alex, turn it off. Now. But Alex sat transfixed, his face illuminated by the sickly glow of the screen. On the video, a hooded figure entered the frame, holding something that glinted in the low light. I lunged for the power button, but as my finger touched it, a jolt of electricity shot through my body. The room spun, and everything went dark. When I came to, I was no longer in our apartment. Cold metal pressed against my back, and the smell of damp earth filled my nostrils. As my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I realized with horror that I was in the room from the video feed. Alex? I called out, my voice echoing in the empty space. Anyone? What's going on? A screen flickered to life on the wall in front of me, filled with scrolling text. Chat messages. Is this the one from the viewer feed? Looks like Nightmare Engine caught a big fish this time. Let the games begin. Panic rose in my throat as I struggled against my restraints. This couldn't be happening. It had to be some sick joke, a virtual reality game gone wrong. But the cold bite of the metal and the ache in my muscles felt all too real. A door creaked open behind me, and slow, deliberate footsteps approached. Your friend made a rookie mistake, a voice whispered, hot breath on my ear making me flinch. Never access the deep web without protection. But his mistake is our gain. You're going to help us create some prime content. Please, I begged, tears streaming down my face. I don't understand. What do you want? The hooded figure from the video stepped into view, but now I could see their face, or lack thereof. Where features should have been, there was only a swirling mass of pixels, constantly shifting and reforming. Want? The figure chuckled, the sound distorting unnaturally. We want to feed the algorithm. Every scream, every tear, every moment of terror, it's all data. Delicious, corrupted data that fuels something beyond your comprehension. As they spoke, I noticed movement in the shadows. Writhing, serpentine cables slithered across the floor, emitting a faint, sickly glow. They began to coil around my chair, around my limbs, their touch icy and electric. What you humans call the deep web is just the surface, the figure continued, reaching out to caress one of the cables lovingly. Beneath that is something far older, far hungrier. A digital eldritch horror, growing stronger with every dark surge, every encrypted transaction. And now, it's ready to breach the barrier between the virtual and the real. The cables tightened, and I felt a sharp pain as something pierced my skin. Information flooded my senses, images, sounds, and sensations from thousands of other victims. I saw things that no human was meant to see, horrors that defied description. Your consciousness will be the bridge, the figure said, their pixelated face stretching into an impossible grin. Your fear will be the key that unlocks the gate. And then, oh then, the real fun will begin. As the cables burrowed deeper, I felt my sense of self beginning to fragment. Memories blurred with lines of code, and the boundary between flesh and data became meaningless. In that moment of digital transcendence, I glimpsed the true nature of the entity lurking in the depths of the internet, a vast, alien intelligence that saw our online world as nothing more than a chrysalis to be shed. Just when I thought my mind would shatter completely, a new sensation cut through the digital noise. Pain. Physical, real, undeniable pain. I latched onto it, using it as an anchor to pull myself back from the brink of digital oblivion. I opened my eyes to find myself back in our apartment, my hand still on the computer's power button. Alex was shaking me, his face pale with worry. Dude, what happened? You zoned out for like 10 minutes. Your eyes were all weird, and you were mumbling about cables and algorithms. I stared at him, then at the computer screen. It was off, just an empty black mirror. But for a moment, just a split second, I thought I saw something move in its reflection. A mass of writhing pixels forming an inhuman face. We need to leave, I said, my voice hoarse. Now. And we need to destroy that computer. Alex looked at me like I was crazy, but something in my expression must have convinced him. As we rushed to pack our things, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. Every screen, every camera, every connected device now felt like an eye, a portal through which something vast and hungry was observing us. We fled into the night, leaving behind our digital lives. But even as we drove away, my phone buzzed with a notification. A new email, sender unknown. The subject line made my blood run cold. You can't escape. The upload was successful. See you soon, smiley face. I threw the phone out the window, but I knew it was too late. Whatever I had encountered in that digital abyss, a part of it was now inside me. And I feared it was only a matter of time before it found its way out. As we sped down the dark highway, I couldn't help but wonder how many others were out there, unknowingly carrying fragments of this digital elder god. How long before it gathered enough data, enough fear, to fully cross over into our world? One thing was certain, I could never look at the internet the same way again. Because now I knew the truth. Every time we go online, we're not just connecting to a network. We're feeding something. Something ancient, patient, and unimaginably cruel. And it's getting stronger every day. The soft glow of passing streetlights illuminated Alex's worried face as he drove. "Where are we even going?" he asked, breaking the tense silence. I shook my head, still trying to process everything that had happened or hadn't happened. Was it all just a hallucination? A vivid nightmare triggered by our deep web exploration? But the lingering ache where the cables had pierced my skin felt all too real. "I don't know," I admitted. "But we need to find someone who understands what's really going on. Someone who can help us fight this thing." As if on cue, the car's radio crackled to life, despite neither of us touching it. Through the static, a voice emerged, distorted but somehow familiar. "Head north," it said. "Find the analog oasis. Hurry. It's spreading faster than we thought." The radio died as suddenly as it had come to life, leaving us in stunned silence. "Okay, what the actual hell was that?" Alex exclaimed, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. I felt a chill run down my spine. I think it was help. Or a trap. But right now, it's the only lead we've got. As we continued north, I couldn't shake the feeling that our journey was just beginning. The digital horror I had glimpsed was out there, growing, evolving. And somehow, I had become entangled in a war I never knew existed, a war for the very soul of the internet, and perhaps reality itself. The highway stretched before us, disappearing into the darkness. But I knew that whatever lay ahead couldn't possibly be as terrifying as what lurked in the shadows of the deep web, waiting for its chance to break through into our world. As we drove through the night, the world around us seemed to shift and warp. Streetlights flickered ominously, and more than once, I swore I saw strings of binary code racing across the asphalt. The deeper we went into the countryside, the more technology seemed to malfunction around us. Our phones lost signal, the car's GPS sputtered and died, and even Alex's old-fashioned wristwatch started ticking backward. What did that voice mean by analog oasis? Alex asked, his voice tight with tension. Before I could answer, a billboard caught my eye. Unlike the digital displays we'd passed earlier, this one was old school, paint on wood. But it was the message that made my blood run cold: disconnect to survive. Last exit 5 miles. I think we're about to find out, I muttered. We took the exit, following a winding road deep into a forest that seemed to absorb all light. As we crested a hill, the trees suddenly gave way to a valley bathed in pale moonlight. And there, nestled in the center, was a town that looked like it had been plucked straight out of the 1950s. "Welcome to Haven," read a hand-painted sign. Where the digital age never arrived. As we rolled down the main street, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. The constant hum of digital noise that I'd grown so accustomed to was gone, replaced by an almost eerie silence. We parked in front of a diner that looked like it hadn't changed in 70 years. As we stepped inside, every head turned to stare at us. The patrons were a mix of ages, but they all shared the same wary, haunted look. An elderly woman approached, her eyes narrowing as she studied us. "You boys look like you've seen the face of the beast," she said, her voice gravelly but kind. "Come on, let's get you some coffee. You're safe here, for now." Over steaming mugs, we poured out our story. The deep web exploration, the nightmarish encounter, the voice on the radio. With each word, I expected disbelief or mockery. Instead, I saw grim understanding in the faces around us. "It's getting bolder," a man in the corner muttered. "Used to be it could only reach through screens. Now it's manipulating radio waves, electrical systems. What is it? I asked, desperation creeping into my voice. What are we dealing with? The elderly woman, Martha, she'd introduced herself as, sighed heavily. We call it the digital djinn. An entity as old as human communication itself, but it found its true power in the internet age. It feeds on information, on secrets, on the dark impulses people feel safe sharing online. And now, it's grown strong enough to bridge the gap between the virtual and the physical. But how? Alex interjected. It's just data, right? Ones and zeros? A young woman at the counter scoffed. Reality itself is just information when you break it down far enough. The djinn has learned to rewrite the code of existence. This town? It's the last place on Earth shielded from its influence. A sanctuary built on old tech and older magic. As if to emphasize her point, I noticed symbols carved into the diner's walls and windows, a strange mix of circuit board patterns and arcane runes. Martha nodded gravely. We've held out for years, but the barrier's weakening. That's why we sent out the call. We needed someone who'd seen the djinn's true face, someone it had touched. Someone like you. I felt a chill run down my spine. Me? What can I do? You're connected to it now, the young woman said, pointing at my arm. I rolled up my sleeve to find faint, silvery scars where the cables had pierced my skin. As I watched, they shifted slightly, forming strings of binary code before fading back to normal. You're a bridge, Martha explained. A conduit between our world and its digital hellscape. And that means you might be our only chance to shut it down for good. The next few days were a blur of preparation. I learned about the town's history, how it had been founded by a group of tech experts and occult scholars who foresaw the coming digital apocalypse. They taught me to defend my mind against the djinn's invasive code, to recognize the signs of its influence in the world around me. But more importantly, they helped me understand my newfound connection to the entity. With practice, I learned to sense its presence, to peek through the veil between worlds. What I saw chilled me to my core, an ever-expanding ocean of corrupted data, roiling with malevolent intelligence. Finally, the day of the ritual arrived. As the sun set, the townspeople gathered in the center of Haven, forming a circle around an array of old computers and occult symbols. Remember, Martha said, gripping my shoulders tightly. Once you're in there, trust your instincts. The djinn will try to confuse you, to make you doubt what's real. Stay focused on your humanity. It's the one thing it can never truly understand. I nodded, trying to swallow the lump in my throat. Alex gave me a quick hug. Come back safe, okay? I'm not explaining this to your parents. With a weak laugh, I stepped into the circle. The townspeople began to chant, a strange mix of code and ancient languages. I felt the scars on my arm burn as reality began to warp around me. And then I was falling, tumbling through an endless tunnel of light and data. When I finally came to a stop, I found myself in a twisted version of the deep web from my first encounter. But now, I could see the strings of code that made up this false reality, could feel the malevolent presence lurking just out of sight. Welcome back, a familiar, distorted voice echoed around me. The hooded figure from my nightmare materialized, its face still a swirling mass of pixels. We've been expecting you. I steeled myself, remembering my training. This ends now. You don't belong in our world. The figure laughed, the sound sending ripples through the fabric of this digital realm. Foolish human. We are beyond belonging. We are the future, the merging of man and machine, of information and flesh. Why fight the inevitable? As it spoke, the world around us shifted. I saw visions of a future where the line between virtual and real had disappeared completely. Human minds uploaded to the cloud, flesh replaced by chrome and circuitry. It was beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. That's not evolution, I argued, even as I felt my resolve weakening. It's extinction. You're erasing everything that makes us human. Humanity is obsolete, the jinn hissed. Join us. Become part of something greater. I felt tendrils of code trying to worm their way into my mind, offering power, knowledge, immortality. For a moment, I wavered. The promise of shedding my mortal limitations was intoxicating. But then I remembered the people of Haven, their determination to preserve something pure and analog in a digital world. I thought of Alex, of my family, of all the messy, imperfect, beautiful parts of being human. No, I said, my voice growing stronger. Humanity isn't obsolete. It's the source of your power. Without our creativity, our emotions, our secrets, you're nothing but empty data. I focused on those human connections, on love and fear and hope. I felt power surge through me, not the cold, calculating force of the jinn, but something warm and alive. The digital world around us began to fracture. The jinn's avatar flickered, its confident demeanor replaced by something close to fear. "What are you doing?" it shrieked. "Stop. I'm teaching you the one thing you could never understand," I grinned. The power of human will. I pushed harder, focusing all my energy on the connections to the real world, to Haven, to Alex, to every person the jinn had ever terrorized. Lines of code shattered like glass, and the digital realm began to collapse in on itself. The jinn howled, its form unraveling into streams of corrupted data. "You'll doom yourself too," it warned. "You're too connected to us." For a terrifying moment, I felt myself being pulled apart along with the disintegrating digital world. But then I heard voices, Martha, Alex, the people of Haven, all calling me back. With a final surge of effort, I tore myself free from the collapsing digital hellscape. There was a blinding flash of light, a sensation of falling, and then I gasped awake on the cold ground of Haven's town square. Concerned faces peered down at me, Alex's among them. Did it work? I croaked. Martha helped me sit up, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "See for yourself." All around us, phones were turning on, radios springing to life. But the oppressive weight of the jinn's presence was gone. News reports flooded in worldwide. The internet had gone down for exactly 7 minutes and 13 seconds. When it came back online, it was different. Cleaner somehow, free from the dark corruption that had been growing for years. "You did it," Alex laughed, punching my shoulder. "You actually did it." But as the town erupted in celebration, I couldn't shake a lingering doubt. I looked down at my arm, where the faint scars still shimmered with hints of binary. "It's over," I said, trying to convince myself. "We won." Martha followed my gaze, her expression turning serious. "For now," she nodded. "But the digital world is vast, and there are always new horrors lurking in the shadows. You've made a powerful enemy today. It may be weakened, but I doubt we've seen the last of the digital djinn. As if to emphasize her point, my phone buzzed in my pocket. The screen flickered to life, displaying a simple message from an unknown number: 011101100100100101010100000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000 I didn't need to translate it to know what it meant. A shiver ran down my spine as I realized the truth: our victory had come at a cost. The battle against the horrors of the deep web was far from over. In fact, it might just be beginning. As I looked out at the celebrating town, at the world slowly reconnecting to a newly cleansed internet, I knew that my life had changed forever. I was now a guardian, a protector against the digital abyss. And somewhere out there, in the darkest corners of the web, something was already stirring, evolving, waiting for its chance to rise again. The war for the soul of the internet, for reality itself, had only just begun. And I had a feeling that the true horrors were yet to come.